Jacob lived for the thrill of the hunt. Every weekend, he'd disappear into the wilderness, a rifle in his hand and the promise of solitude in his heart. His favorite escape was the deep, remote forests of Alberta, Canada, miles from any sign of civilization. It was his sanctuary. One Saturday, the hunt was good. The air was crisp, birds were plentiful, and Jacob was in his element. But as the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, a strange unease settled over him. He turned to gather his catch for the day, but they were gone. All that remained were a few dark drops of blood staining the forest floor. Confused and annoyed, he scanned his surroundings, and that's when he saw it. A massive black snake, unlike anything he'd ever encountered, slithered silently through the undergrowth. Its scales shimmered like obsidian in the dying light. A primal mix of anger and fear seized Jacob. He raised his rifle, took aim, and fired. The shot was perfect. The snake's head was severed clean from its body. But what happened next defied all logic. The headless body began to writhe and thrash with a violent, unnatural energy. A faint, muffled scream seemed to rip through the silent forest, a sound that didn't belong to any animal he knew. Jacob's blood ran cold. He was alone. Night was falling fast, and his truck was just a few meters away. He didn't think twice. He scrambled to his truck, threw in his remaining gear, and jammed the key into the ignition. Nothing. He tried again. The engine wouldn't turn over. Panic began to claw at his throat. That's when he heard it. A soft, deliberate tapping sound coming from the roof of the truck. He froze, his eyes darting around the dark woods. Nothing was there. The massive snake had vanished. The forest had become unnervingly silent, as if holding its breath. Then a pair of glowing eyes materialized in the darkness just beyond his windshield. A cold, ethereal whisper slithered into his mind, calling his name. "You killed one of ours," it hissed, the voice both ancient and filled with hate. "You will pay, and you will regret it forever." Terror gave him a surge of adrenaline. Jacob frantically twisted the key again and again. Finally, the engine roared to life. He slammed the truck into gear and sped away, not daring to look back. But he could feel it, an oppressive, watchful presence following him, clinging to him like a shadow. The drive home was a blur of paranoia. Every shadow seemed to move. Every sound made him jump. When he finally reached his apartment building late that night, a new dread washed over him. His front door was unlocked. He knew with absolute certainty he had locked it that morning. He pushed the door open cautiously. His heart stopped. A trail of long, thin black footprints, not human, not animal, stretched across his hallway leading directly to his bedroom door. As he watched, the bedroom door creaked open on its own. A tall, shadowy figure stood in the doorway. It looked exactly like him. His height, his build, his face, but its eyes were pitch black, bottomless voids of pure malice. A grotesque, knowing grin spread across its face, a chilling mimicry of his own smile. "You will never escape," the doppelganger said, its voice a perfect imitation of his own. "You killed one of our tribe. You will pay the price." Jacob tried to run, to scream, to do anything, but he was paralyzed, frozen in place by an unspeakable fear. He felt a strange energy draining from him, pulling at his very life force. His memories flashed before his eyes. Childhood laughter, family holidays, moments with friends, his entire life being unwound. A rhythmic, pounding drumbeat started, echoing in his head, growing louder and faster, a ritualistic sound preparing to tear his soul from his body. Just as the darkness threatened to consume him completely, a familiar sound pierced the terror. The distant, clear chimes of the local church bells ringing for midnight. A wave of light seemed to flood the apartment, pure and cleansing. The shadowy figure recoiled, its form wavering before it dissolved back into the darkness. Jacob collapsed to the floor, shaking uncontrollably, but he was alive. The cursed presence was gone. Jacob never went back to those woods. He sold his hunting gear and never again sought the solitude of the wild. He learned a hard lesson that day. There are ancient forces in this world that are not meant to be understood, let alone disturbed. And some mistakes have a way of following you home. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like and subscribe for more.